Good morning, guys. Dakota back with another live stream, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, February 15th. And today we're going to go ahead and look at the markets. I know my screen's not showing. I'm about to switch the screen so I can basically show the charts. Just want to say I appreciate you guys hopping on and appreciate you guys showing your support. If you guys like these videos, go ahead, give the video a like, and if you want to keep up with them, obviously subscribe. Every Monday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless in the Discord channel I say otherwise. All right. Also, if you guys know anyone else that may be interested, go ahead, share it with them or share it on your social media, so we can get a little bit more interaction in the live chat. Give me 1 second. I was actually just about to place a trade. My entry just came on dollar Swiss. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So, last week was a really good trading week. Towards the end, kind of hit a losing streak. I don't remember how many I lost in a row, but overall, in the beginning of the week, we had a lot of winners, and basically those covered the losses that we had towards the end of the week. After reviewing the journal, I noticed I made 2 mistakes on 2 trades, but overall it was a really good week and really loved it. I hope you guys had success last week as well, and let's try to replicate the same thing this week. Actually do better this week. But again, trading the same 4 pairs, and I'm going to go ahead and do a quick breakdown on all of them. I went ahead and already reviewed all of them on my own. And the only 2 that I'm really, there's 3 that I'm really paying attention to. It's cable, dollar Swiss, euro yen, and then GN. I'm setting to the side for now. It's not in the right area that I want to trade it at right at this moment, so I'm going to wait a little bit longer, see if it picks up during the week. Let's start with cable. Let's put that to the side, go to the monthly. And let me make sure I have this chat pulled up. And like always on these calls, actually, if it's your first time hopping on, first of all, my name is Dakota, right? And every Monday, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, hop on here to basically go over some charts and take any requests. Like if you guys want to see me mark up a certain pair, we'll go ahead and do that. Also gonna go ahead and review we also review trades that we've been through already, and basically go through what I'm paying attention to for the week first, and then go through all the requests. And I send every single trade that I take to my Discord channel. The link to that is in the description, and basically every chart that's on here also gets posted in there. But requested charts I don't necessarily keep up with. I only keep up with them, honestly, when I decide to, or if it's on my list. I'm looking for something over here. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, that is what I'm looking for. There it is. Okay. Let's get back here, and speaking of that, I need to send out this trade I just took on. Dollar Swiss. And I'll break down what I'm seeing on here in a second. So when you do join the Discord channel, be sure to read what is on there because a lot of people join the Discord channel but they don't read the two chats that you're initially in. Basically, all you have to do is just hit like two buttons in order to actually get into the chats, like the my analysis, the public chat. I believe announcements is automatically there, but basically everything, all the things that you want to see in the chat, in order to get there, you have to select, like, are you a day trader? Like, what continent are you from? Basically, right? So basically, people can understand a bit about your perspective, or if someone's from the same place as you, like, you guys have more to relate to. Also, day traders can relate to day traders more. Swing traders can relate to swing traders more as well. So basically, if anyone sends out a chart, you understand, you can have a better understanding of their perspective on it. But GU, just gonna box it in initially. And again, if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and ask as I'm marking this up. I think my phone is upstairs. It's fine. All right, we're gonna go ahead and draw an uptrend on a lower time frame. And at this point, all I do here with these lines is just box in price. Just boxing in price and making sure I basically want price to be in a certain position to where like there's only one move it can really make, right? There's only one or two ways that it can go, and if it goes this way, this is what I'm going to do. If it does this, this is what I'm going to do. It's very mechanical. Okay, and we were paying attention to this level over the past few weeks. We're actually looking for a sell at this level. We can see price actually push through that. If I go ahead and reset this, see price push through this level. So right now I'm in buying mode. I'm long. I'm done looking for the short. It's been playing me all this time. The next time I look for a short is if price gets up to this area or if this trend line gets broken. All right, so let's go down to the daily. Off the daily time frame, we can make this tighter. We'll leave our trend line like this, and then on the lower time frame we have another trend line. If we go down to the 4 hour, and we can see price is pretty much boxed in. Basically, with boxing in price, I'm saying to myself in my head, one second. I'm saying, okay, if price comes down, I'm looking for price to potentially reject this area. If price goes up, I'm looking for price to potentially test this area. If it breaks through it, I'm looking for a correction and price to continue pushing up. If it correctly moves to there, I'm looking for it to sell back down to this level. If price breaks through here, I'm looking for it to test this trend line. And if price even scales down like further along the way, I'm looking for it to test the trend line and then push up. If it breaks the trend line, I'm looking for a correction and looking for it to sell down to the demand zone. All right, that's basically that's what I'm thinking, like, as I'm marking it up, and that's what the lines are telling me essentially. Okay, we have a 4 hour trend line here, and this is the first line right now that price could potentially reach if it scales down. Okay, the first line that it could reach if it scales up is obviously that supply zone that's pretty far off. I'm looking for price to actually scale up to that level. So what I'd like to see, and this is essentially my strategy, what I like to see is price to correct down to this trend line, or at least to the area that I have this alert at. And from that area, I'm actually looking for price to buy or to go long. Let's go down to the 1 hour. Should be a little cleaner there. And this would be the 38.2 Fibonacci level right there. And I have it right up at that wick. Price could wick down a little bit and touch that 38, but I want to be aware that price is down here a little bit before it reaches that level. And if price does reject off 38.2, this is one of the most profitable patterns, at least from my back testing and from my trades. I know basically the high and tight flag, it pushes up pretty aggressively if it plays off the 38.2. So it also has a pretty tight stop loss, so it gets a pretty high risk to reward ratio. Now in this situation, I wouldn't shoot for the supply zone because it's pretty far off, and there's a lot more patterns that could come throughout that as price is scaling up to that level. So I want to see how the patterns basically play out and see if there's any reason to get out of the trade before just simply setting my target all the way up to that level. Alright. Okay, cool. Okay, now what I essentially do, or I'll essentially break down my strategy now, it's pretty simple. If you watched the previous live streams, which I have a whole playlist called morning trading sessions, I'll probably change the name of that. Right? But basically I just look for an impulse, and the impulse is telling me the direction the market wants to go, and I'll draw it out for you here. It tells me the direction the market wants to go. If it's going up, the market wants to go up. If it's going down, okay, the market's telling me it wants to go down. And after that, I look for a correction. Okay, now the difference between an impulse and a correction: the impulse, the characteristics of an impulse, strong aggressive candles moving in one direction, essentially, right? They're just strong, like for a bullish move, strong bullish candles. You have a strong bullish momentum candle, strong bullish momentum candle, strong bullish momentum candle, and then you have small bullish momentum candles, and then small bearish, but they're not really too significant. They're not showing real strength if it's small. Once you start to see these long aggressive candles that are just bullish candle after bullish candle, that's pretty much your impulse. It's pretty much just a straight line. Alright, your correction, however, is going to be small candles, small consolidating candles. And ideally you want it moving in the opposite direction of the impulse. Okay, if they're small consolidating candles and they're moving in the opposite direction of the impulse, that's a strong confirmation telling you that price wants to continue in the same direction as the impulse. Okay, I'll say it one more time. The impulse tells you the direction of the market. The correction confirms that the market wants to go in the same direction as the impulse. And then after that, we have the move that we're actually looking for, which is our continuation or simply our new impulse. I'll just call it an impulse for now. It's just impulse, correction, impulse. Impulse, correction, impulse. Impulse, pattern, impulse. Because not all the time is the pattern going to go the opposite direction of the impulse, but I mean, that's ideally what we want to see. Okay, and again, small consolidating candles going the opposite direction. And for a bearish move, we have an impulse coming down, correction will move the opposite way. Sure, a ton of you guys know this already, right? If you've been trading for an extended period of time, like it's not too secretive of a strategy. Okay, I think the primary problem with it is, or where a lot of people go wrong with it, is understanding when the correction ends or understanding exactly when to hit that buy or sell button. I know a lot of people have troubles with that with this strategy, but all I had to do is just like go through back tests, find different scenarios, and find what's repeatable there that you can basically execute off of or take advantage of, so you don't have that lingering problem. Let's find an uptrend and find a bullish example before we move on to any other pair. I have alerts on all the pairs I'm paying attention to. Sorry, I gotta get sidetracked real quick. I didn't select here. Well, that's not going to set up for another few hours anyway. Okay. So let's find a bullish example. I want to find a series of them, so I'm not going to go for the most recent one. That's decent. This is decent, but overall it's an ascending. I also believe I have a video that I posted a few months ago, breaking this down further, especially with the trend lines. A lot of people hit me up saying that it kind of cleared the trend line thing up for them, because a lot of people were moving their trend lines unnecessarily or when they shouldn't have, basically. But here we can see we have strong aggressive candles moving in one direction. After that we have small consolidating candles moving in the opposite direction of the impulse. Then we have a continuation coming up, and that continuation is our new impulse, and we just repeat it again. Small consolidating candles going the opposite direction of the impulse. Then we have a continuation. After that, small consolidating candles moving the opposite direction of the impulse. Then we have our continuation pattern. Small consolidation patterns moving in the opposite direction of the impulse. And then we have our continuation pattern. Okay, then here we have small candles, but they're moving in the same direction as the impulse, which entice basically our reversal. Okay, and after the reversal, we got a pattern. And if I go to the 4 hour, this whole thing is technically an impulse, and this is our correction. Let me not confuse. Let's find a clear downtrend. So that was a bullish example. Now I'll real quick find a downtrend example on this pair, and let's delete all that. That's good. Let's just go inside this impulse. Okay, another important thing to know is that basically price is a fractal, right? Everything on the chart is pretty much a fractal. And what I mean by that, let me play some candles again. What I mean by that, like, obviously this is an impulse here. Strong aggressive candles moving to the downside. And if we look up closer so you can see the separation, if you don't notice that, we can say here is an impulse, here is a correction, here is an impulse, here is a correction, here is an impulse, here is a correction, and then here is a huge impulse. Okay, what we're going to look at is we're going to look deeper inside of this impulse. Gonna look deeper inside this impulse. So I'll highlight it so we know that we're looking at the same stuff, and I'll make sure it's not dark color. Lock that. Let's go down to the 1 hour, and let's go down to the 15 minutes so it's really clear. Okay, so here on the 15 minute we have strong aggressive candles moving to the downside. After that we got a corrective pattern, consolidating candles moving the opposite direction of the impulse. We got our continuation, basically a retest, which is essentially another correction. Then we got another impulse, then we got another pattern, and then it's just over and over again pretty much, right? The way I see the market is literally how I'm showing you. Just an impulse, a pattern, an impulse, a pattern. The pattern is going to tell me the next direction of the impulse pretty much. And then the impulse I use just as another confirmation. Alright, so that's my strategy. Hope that makes sense. Now let's go ahead and move on to the other pairs that I'm paying attention to. Again, if you have any pairs that you want me to go over, go ahead and comment it in the live chat, and it will be posted in the Discord channel after I reviewed on this live call. Now, something that's been happening on all the calls, if you've been watching the videos or the live streams, you notice it's like cut off over the last two, and that's because OBS keeps crashing close to an hour. So, but I noticed on the last one it allowed me to hop back on, so if it does crash this time, I will be sure to stay on and go ahead and finish the readings that I do the readings that I do at the end. And I want to close it properly. All right, but let's go. We already talked about pound dollar. Screenshot that and post it in Discord. Okay, dollar Swiss. I'm in this trade, so I'm gonna use a different broker. Okay, dollar Swiss is one of my top 5 pairs, like that I personally like. I know not a lot of people like it. Again, man, every time I go to this broker and it's always got these long legs. What was I saying? Dollar Swiss is one of my top pairs. All right, one of my favorite pairs at least. It does move really slow, but there's a benefit to that. You don't have to react as quickly. And yes, the moves take longer, but if you're able to be precise with it, which in my opinion it's relatively easy to be precise with dollar Swiss. Yeah, if you're able to be precise with it, you don't really need that much. Like, especially if you're a day trader, like go for 20 pips or 30 pip move. That can easily turn into, instead of just a 2-to-1, it could be like a 5-to-1 if you're precise with your entry. Okay, let me continue. What am I doing? We have a downtrend here. We see the downtrend has been broken by a weekly candle, bullish weekly candle. Price has a bearish candle testing the trend line at the moment, so we're gonna see if price continues down further. And once we get to a lower time frame, I'll show you exactly why I'm not considering a sell in the situation right now. I'm gonna go ahead and place a supply zone right here in this area. See, we have multiple rejections. Price is essentially wicked out in that area, shot up. Price tested that area and shot down recently, and previously it's also rejected it several times. Let's go down to the daily time frame. Now on the daily time frame, we notice that we have an inverted head and shoulders here. Okay, impulse, inverted head and shoulders, which is a reversal pattern, which led to an impulsive move, breaking the trend line, and now price is right at the neckline here, which is essentially why I'm not really looking for that sell in this area. It's not a good area for me personally that I would sell at. I would actually like to see price scale up higher to this area. Okay, but there's always a possibility for price to sell, so just got to be paying attention to price action and see how price basically moves and what pattern it gives us. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this trend line because it's irrelevant at the moment, and I'm gonna draw this uptrend here based off this right shoulder, the head in the right shoulder, and you can see price broke the trend line right now. So we're gonna see if price is essentially just faking out or if it continues down further. I'm gonna go down to the 4-hour time frame, reset the chart. And right now I'll put a horizontal line there at the high here. Okay, so now at this moment I'm considering a break of the trend line. With it being a break of the trend line, I would like to see price come back up here to this high to test it one more time and tell me that it does want to sell off by giving me a actual pattern. One of my entry patterns to the downside, and that's pretty much it. So basically I want to see a flat pattern form potentially. If a flat pattern forms, I'll sell it, and I'll sell it down to this low here, which is about 8763. go down to 1 hour. Now the move that I took was actually a falling wedge off the 1 hour time frame. I saw an impulsive move here, I saw a falling wedge here, and I got my entry pattern here, so I went ahead and took it. It retraced down to the 78.6, which is a prime area, and usually, and basically an area where it's a high probability that price could push off from there, right? It's either going to push off or it's going to continue down, right? It's basically a make it or break it area. And I'm looking for price to come back up to this high, like I said earlier, on the 4 hour time frame, and that would give me a 4-to-1 opportunity. Now, if price gets to that point, right, I'm going to be waiting to see if one of my entry patterns forms, and if my entry pattern forms in this area, I'll go ahead and close the buy. But if price breaks through this high and continues higher up to this trend line, I will continue to hold it. And if it breaks through and at that trend line, that would be the next area I'm watching it. And if it gives me some signal to sell, basically a pattern, a reversal pattern, tell me it's gonna sell off, I'm not gonna take that selling opportunity like I would at this area. I would just close my buy opportunity and wait for a better opportunity to enter for a sell. And if price breaks through this area, my target is going to be about here, 8987. Okay, so I basically have a plan mapped out, like 3 stages for dollar Swiss right now. If price breaks down, hits my SL, I'm not going to chase the sell. I'll wait for a new setup. That is dollar Swiss. Okay, so this is what I'd like to see. Wow. And I already sent this out, so I'm not going to send out a new chart. Let's go to Euro Yen. Do I have? Yeah, I already have the screenshot for this one. Okay, same thing as the other ones. I'll go ahead and make this a little bit quicker. I won't go as slow. All right, so boxing price in, we have an uptrend on lower time frame, which I'll draw on the weekly time frame. Actually, yeah, I prefer to draw it like that. Let's see how it would look here. It's basically the same. It wouldn't have mattered. Okay, and let's reset the chart, see if we see both of them. Yes, we do. And when I say that, I'm looking to see if I still see both my supply zone and my demand zone. And again, I don't care too much about exactly where the line is as far as exact price. I am working on being a bit more precise with that, so I can again be more precise in my trading. But again, all my lines are zones, they're not areas, and even when I do get more precise, there's still zones. Oh, what did I just say? There's zones, not lines. That's what I meant to say. They're essentially areas, not just a specific price line. All right, I'm looking for that general area to be tested. I'm not looking for that exact price to be tested. So price doesn't necessarily have to touch it. As long as it comes near that area, I know I'm looking for a reaction in that zone. Okay, now I'm gonna look to the left to see where I have several rejections. Here, I like that area right there. See price broke it, tested, sold, came here, bought, tested, sold. Yeah, that's perfect. Right there. Okay, now if we go down to the daily. Okay, so price is right at, like, just broke the supply zone. So it'd be interesting to see how this daily candle closes. See if it's actually a real break or if it comes back down and just forms a shooting star. If it forms a shooting star, that's going to be beautiful. And I'm selling that all the way down. If it closes as a shooting star, I'm selling it down. I'm selling down about 600 pips. I'm literally going to be holding it that long. Unless it stops me out, of course. Okay, but price could continue up, and we need a plan for that. So let's just continue down to the next time frame. There's nothing I can do right now. Okay. We've got an uptrend. We have a strong impulsive move. After that impulse, we're looking for a corrective pattern, and if we get that corrective pattern down to this area and we get our entry signal, I'll go ahead and take the buy opportunity. Boom. Let's go down to a 1 hour time frame. Now on this lower time frame, pretty much everything like I said at the beginning, everything's a fractal. Okay, so on the daily time frame, this whole thing is an impulse, but inside we have impulses and corrections for opportunities to buy and sell. So off the daily, this is a huge impulsive candle, or huge engulfing candle, or impulsive candle, however you want to say it. But on the 1 hour, actually on the 15 minute, it could be a whole lot clearer. But on the 15 minute, this entire candle has an impulse, a correction, an impulse, a correction, an impulse, a pattern, an impulse, a pattern, an impulse. Alright, and even a reversal pattern there is telling us that price could potentially sell. Alright, so I say all that because on the 15 minute, you can draw a trend line here, watch for this break, watch for a correction, and then sell this down to the area that I'm looking for to buy. That's actually what I'm going to do if that actually plays out, or if that actually sets up. Looking for a corrective pattern right now, looking to sell down to that area. And I'm gonna go ahead and set an alert here. Let me make sure I have the right time frame though. Yeah, 50 is perfect. Goes to the 38.2, rejects off of that, I'm SOL, and just gonna have to miss that move, look for another opportunity. I don't like the 38.2 area because it's not a good area for me, basically, at this moment. Okay, now let's look for what we want to see on the 15 minute for this sell. We already have our impulse, and we see prices started to correct, or potentially correct. Like to see it come at least to the 50 Fibonacci level. And then looking to sell from that, in that area. Look for it to come down here. Nice little 3.19, possibly 4 to 1. Stretching out. We'll see how price reacts in this area, and if we have to close it early, we'll close it early. But I'll go for the 4 to 1 with the 8 pip stop loss. Again, have to wait for a actual pattern to form here. Like, I don't have small consolidating candles right now, so I wouldn't enter off of it just because it hits that zone. Right. Oh, and I need to send out the higher time frame one as well. Let's just and we have one more GBPNZD, which, one second. Okay, it's doing exactly what it's doing exactly what I wanted, but it did a little bit earlier than I wanted it to. Let's open a new one because I want to do deeper analysis on that on my own after the stream. Let's go to the monthly. Let's delete all this. Let's break it down. So here, go ahead and draw a supply zone, and I'm just gonna skip this high part because price is down here so far from price. There's no need to draw that because it's far. It's gonna take forever for price to get up there, so it's pretty irrelevant at the moment. Gonna draw a demand zone there because price has rejected it several times already. Let me minimize Discord. Okay. All right, and let's go down to our weekly time frame. Weekly time frame, we have a downtrend. Price is testing that trend line right now. We'll see if price sells down or if it pushes up. On our lower time frame right now, we're just thinking sell because price is below the trend line. We have an impulse and we have small consolidating candles right here. Let's go down to our daily. We could have drawn an uptrend there as well, but should be clear on the daily. Daily time frame, we can see that we have this pattern that I'll draw out like that, and we also have an uptrend here. We can draw the uptrend, but if we draw the uptrend here, there's really no point. Price is all the way up here, so there's a tighter trend line right there. We're also within this pattern already, so like you can either have this trend line or that one, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna have the one that I initially drew. I'm gonna have the one that I initially drew. Okay, and I'm gonna draw an uptrend right here on the 4-hour time frame. Now on this time frame, I do want to draw a new supply zone because I can already see we're gonna need one on the 4-hour time frame. So I'll draw that like that right there. Boom, and we'll go down to the 4-hour time frame. Okay, and this is the uptrend I was talking about on the daily time frame that we couldn't really see on the daily, and it's a whole lot clearer here on the 4-hour time frame. Now here in this area, you can see we have a lot of confluence. Well, confluences is just a convergence or a meeting point, a cross section, an intersection of a ton of zones. Right? We have a trend line telling us to sell at this area. We have the top of the pattern telling us to sell in this area. We have a supply zone telling us to sell in this area. And the only thing telling us to buy is this uptrend. If we have 1, 2, 3 things telling us to sell and one thing telling us to buy, what should we do? We should look for a sell. Okay, we should look for a sell. So off the daily, let's check what the candle looks like. Again, basically same thing. I want a long wick candle, just like Euro Yen, and I want to sell it. So we're moving that to short, not active, but it's still not ready. Let's go down to the 4-hour. Let's go down to the 1-hour since there's nothing to do there. Off the 1-hour time frame, we have another uptrend here. We can see price rejected off of there. That would be beautiful if price closes like that. About 17 minutes. That's So this is nearly ready for me at least. And I'm gonna take this trade if it closes like this or it's close to this. Let's go to or my fault, I almost skipped something. We see we had an impulse here, we had a corrective pattern, and that led to our impulsive move. Ideally we would want to see an ascending channel or some type of pattern in this area, but if we look further to the left in this area, we can see price rejected right where it's at. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 times. Let's adjust that a little bit right there. Yeah, that's better. 1 2 3 4 5 times. Yeah, 5 times. I promise I can count. So it's rejected at 5 times. Price could scale up higher to that supply zone and be a little bit more. Yeah, I don't like that. I want to move that trend line back. Price could scale up a little bit higher, hit that trend line, or not the trend line, but the supply zone, and just got to be aware of that. Yeah, and prepared for it. React accordingly. React like you're supposed to react. If it hits it, if it breaks through it, I mean, switch your bias to a buy. If it rejects it, forms a reversal pattern, look for a sell opportunity. Okay. Let's go down to the 30 minutes, see if we can see a better opportunity. Nothing there. Let's go to the 15. And nothing there. There's a possible 3-bar reversal pattern that could form here. But I'm gonna wait for the 1 hour to close. Depending on how this closes, it's gonna determine whether I enter or not. But I will go ahead and enter for a sell here if it closes the way that I want it to close. Put my stop loss about there, and you'll see exactly like everything that I'm gonna do on this when I send out the screenshot if I enter off of it. And I'll target this low here. You can see here, all this is pretty much a correct movement to the upside. So that's a reversal pattern. So I'm looking for it to sell down to the bottom of the reversal pattern. Could push further down than that. If that happens, I wouldn't chase it with this original move. All I'm gonna do is just wait for another setup and look to enter off of that, and then I'll sell it from there. And again, like the bigger move, the big move off the daily time frame, we have this. It's actually off the weekly time frame. We have this impulse, we have this corrective pattern. Look for price to come down and at least reach this low here. Could possibly form a double bottom here. And want to pay attention to price in that area. Could potentially reverse, because price is struggling to break here. Right, it's been struggling for a while. But those are all my pairs. It looks like no requests have been sent in. Last time we were on the call, or actually the last few weeks, we've been actually paying attention to dollar yen. I was looking for a corrective pattern to actually form back here off of the 4 hour. Well, that pattern is a 1 hour pattern, so that one would have been here. So I saw the sell signal. Honestly, I actually wanted to see a bigger pullback, kind of what we got here, but not exactly like this. This is very aggressive. I didn't want it to be that aggressive, but it did lead to a pullback, which led to a flat pattern, which led to price continuing up, basically giving us, if I break it down so you can see what I'm seeing. That's what we got. We got our buy signal over here somewhere, and then we got several impulse and impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction, right? Impulse and correction. Obviously, I'm rushing how I'm drawing out the patterns. You can get it a little bit more detailed with how you're drawing the patterns and figure out exactly what pattern it is. And here you can see we have a head and shoulders. Okay, I'm done. But that's basically it. So 4-hour time frame. Gotta be honest with you, I don't like it. But the reason I don't like it, we have a strong impulsive move here. It started off corrective, but it's getting a bit more impulsive as it scales up. I do want to see price drop one more time. I'd prefer it, but I mean, the market's not going to do what I prefer all the time. But here, ideally, what I really want to see form, once I delete all that, I want to see this pattern form here. So I definitely want to see price come down at least one more time. And test this low one more time potentially. Otherwise it could come short and form a triangle. But I wanted to come all the way to the low. Actually a little bit lower because it hasn't tested the area that I wanted to test. But we can't say that there's a pattern there yet. What we have to say is there's an uptrend here. We have to go down to the 1-hour time frame to reset that. With this uptrend, we have a strong impulse right now, and then we're waiting for a correction here and a potential buy setup. All right. Okay, and we'll only start looking for sales and look for target that low. You can actually bank off of the larger move by looking for a sell after the break of this trend line, if it breaks the trend line, and sell it down to there. And that should be 80 to 90 pips if you get the sell. The buy comes, that's about 40 pips, staying below that high. But if you want to target that high, that's closer to 50, closer to 60 actually. Also, last call, someone requested US30, and US30, I was looking for a sell. I wanted price to sell off of this ascending channel. Price didn't do that. It actually, I actually believe it was, yeah, it was right at this high. So price didn't do that. It actually broke above the high, gave us a correction, continued up higher, and gave us a reversal pattern to start looking for sales. And then after the sales, price continually tested this area, the previous high that we were looking at, and kept bouncing off of there or wicking out at that area and giving us basically buy opportunities. Right now I see corrective pattern, so I look for a short-term sell-off, just a pullback. Price testing this area now, and we'll see how it reacts to that area. Let's go ahead and move a zone up there. I just deleted the zone. Okay, looking to see how price tests this area and possibly bounce off of it and continue up higher. And if price breaks through this trend line impulsively, again, if price breaks through this trend line impulsively, possibly start looking for sales if you get a sell set up. But I believe that is it. That's it? Okay. So, let's try this. I'm going to go ahead and whip out this book again. Like I did on the last two live streams. And let's go ahead and see. We can get through it. I'm going to go ahead and go over what we were talking about last time. Or the section I was reading last time, because didn't quite finish it. And if anyone wanted to continue listening to it, I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Alright, let's bring up dollar Swiss so you guys can look at that trade while I read the book. Oh, yeah, sure, that's fine. Okay, what was it, chapter 12, right? No, it's chapter 16. Okay, and I'll read the whole thing over again. This time I won't make any interjections. So again, the book is The Disciplined Trader by Mark Douglas. Read this several times already and going back through it, and wanted to share this with you guys just in case anyone's struggling with it and could potentially benefit from it. To be able to execute your trading system properly, you will need to incorporate two concepts into your mental framework: thinking in terms of probabilities and correlating the numbers or the mechanics of your system to the behavior. Unfortunately, the only way you can really learn these things is actually to experience them by executing your system. The problem is that rarely will a typical trader stay with his system beyond 2 or 3 losses in a row. And taking 2 or 3 losses in a row is a very common occurrence for most trading systems. This creates something of a paradox or catch-22. How do you do it if you don't believe it? And you won't learn to believe it unless you do it long enough for it to become a part of your mental framework. This is where you employ mental discipline to make flawless execution a habit. Exercise. Take some of the trading capital that you set aside for your education to buy and trade a simple trading system with well-defined entry and exit points. Make a commitment to trade this system exactly according to the rules. You need to make a very strong commitment here and not play any games with yourself. The object of this exercise is to work through any resistance you may have to following your rules. Your objectives are to 1. Learn the skill of flawless execution by learning that you can follow the rules you set forth for yourself. I'm defining flawless execution as executing a trade immediately upon perception of an opportunity. Inclusive within opportunity is the opportunity to exit a losing trade. 2. To incorporate a belief into your mental system about the nature of probable outcomes so that you believe that you can make money in the long run with your trading system, if, of course, you can execute it properly. You will likely encounter many beliefs arguing against flawless execution. Here are a few suggestions to help you work through this resistance. First, understand that this exercise, at least for most people, is not going to be easy, so be easy on yourself. The more accepting you are of your mistakes, the easier it will be to make the next step, the next attempt. If your child were learning how to ride a bike, I'm sure you wouldn't scold him for falling off and tell him not to try again. You would encourage him and eventually he'd learn. Give yourself the same kind of understanding and consideration. Second, taking all the signals generated by your system is the only way you can get the first-hand experience you need to establish a belief in probable outcomes. And relating the mathematics or the mechanics to the behavior, You have to do it in spite of your resistance. And you have to do it long enough for your system to become a part of your mental framework. When that happens, you will have the force of habit working for you, and the struggle will cease. Just do the best you can and look for ways to improve your performance. Constantly keep in mind that what you are doing is more of an exercise in learning trading discipline and the skill of flawless execution, which in the long run is far more important than your immediate desire to make money. So make your contract size light. You can always increase it later when you have learned to trust yourself completely to always do what needs to be done without hesitation. Stay with the exercise until it becomes second nature or a part of who you are. As you gain in your confidence, you will learn more and consequently learn how to make money as a trader. As you make money, you will gain. As you make money, you will gain in your confidence. This positive cycle will expand your ability to be successful just as easily as a negative cycle will feed on itself to end in despair. Okay, now the story that I was going to tell last time. One of the major lessons that my mentor taught me, and that was like, and what reminded me of this is what Mark Douglas wrote in that section when he talks about basically give yourself the same consideration as you would your child if you were teaching them how to learn a bike or they're learning how to ride a bike. My mentor told me to basically give myself a chance to be successful. And he told me at a time where I was basically in a booming and busting cycle, right? And in that booming and busting cycle, if you don't know what that is, basically I would run up an account, have a long series of winners, and then like 2 or 3 trades would just blow my account. So I didn't have risk management, pretty much. Okay. And that's just because like most people when they first get started, they just want to, like, I was like this. I just wanted to reach my goal or get the money fast, basically. All right. I think that was a large part to the communities that I was involved in early on, because the communities I was seeing everyone like take $100 to $2,000 in a day, or at least that's what they would say, or take a couple $100s to like $10,000 within a few weeks or things like that. And it's and that was my perception of trading. I didn't really have the perception of like firms, where firms they risk low and they're looking at expectancy over time. Okay, my signal didn't come from this trade, so I had to wait longer. I'm gonna set an alert on this line. I want it off the 15-minute because that'll give me an earlier entry. Yeah, I'm not taking it up all the way there. Yeah, actually, I may have to. Yeah, I'm not doing that. But yeah, so it was basically I had this image of basically quick return off your investment, which obviously isn't realistic, or you shouldn't really expect that coming into trading, especially within your first year, because trading takes a lot of work. There's a lot of behind the scenes of work being put in. And if you don't know, like, the people that are flipping accounts, or like the people that you see flipping huge accounts, that's not their last that's not their last $100, $200, $300, $500 or whatever, how much they started off with to flip their account. They're flipping their account for fun, right? Because they want to test their skills. They want to see, okay, let me invest $100, see if I use a strategy, how precise it can be. Not necessarily that methodical, like not everyone's that strategic with it, but it's basically a way to test your skills. Okay, but if you don't have skills and you don't really understand risk management, you're wasting your time trying to flip an account. You need to be focused on essentially, number one, conserving capital. After you learn how to conserve capital, then you can focus on, okay, how can I actually profit? And going back to conserving capital is just like, you can take, like, basically you can take a hit to the chin, right? You can go on a long losing streak, but you not lose a lot. Like January, definitely one of my worst losing streaks ever in my live trading. My worst losing streak in back testing is about 9, but in live trading before January, it was only about 5, maybe 6. Now in January, I had a losing streak of about, if you go to the Discord channel, you can count the losses that I had in a row. It was a lot. I definitely reached 8. Yeah, I had 8 losses in a row, but I only lost for that month about 1%. And then so far in February, I made it back. So it's being able to conserve your capital and be able to lose a series of trades in a row is very vital. And then only after that, once you got that down and you have confidence in yourself with that, go ahead and move on to, okay, this is how I grow. This is how I can make profits. What can I do to make more profits in the market? But that's it, guys. That's all I got to talk about. Again, these calls happen every Monday. And honestly, I don't care about holidays, so they happen every Monday. Every Monday at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, hop on these calls. I go through the charts that I'm going to pay attention to for the week, and go over any charts that you guys want to go over. All you got to do is type it in the live chat. Now, if you want the screenshots, the link to my Discord server where I post all of them is in the description, so you can go down there and join that. Also, be sure to read the instructions so that you can actually get access to all the different chats. But other than that, I really appreciate you guys hopping on. If you like this, go ahead, hit that like button. And if you want to keep up with the rest of the videos or the rest of the streams, go ahead, subscribe and turn on bell notifications. And I will catch you guys later.